When it comes to advocating for better public transportation, I believe in three basic principles. Good transit should be available, affordable, and accessible to all. By available, I mean building and maintaining transit in the places people need it. And not ripping something out you just built. I'm all about affordability, something about being Dutch or something. However, I admit that I could sometimes do better when advocating for accessible transit. I spend a lot of time thinking about how to make things easier to understand, which I think is good, but sometimes I gloss over making things easier to use. And I think this is something that actually many of us YouTubers can improve on. Accessibility is more than just having an elevator at stations. It goes beyond just level boarding. Today, thanks to the kind invitation of the folks at SEPTA in Philadelphia, I've come to their Accessible Travel Center to learn more about all that goes into making transit accessible. In 1990, the United States Congress passed the Americans with Disabilities Act. This law, one of the biggest pieces of human rights legislation since the Civil Rights Act, mandates that public places be accessible. Title II specifically talks about public transportation. For people with disabilities, transit has to be accessible and usable. That's what the SEPTA Accessible Travel Center is all about. I've come to Suburban Station, the major regional rail station that serves Center City, Philadelphia. Here, regional trains fan out in all directions across the region. But surprisingly, I'm not here to ride a train. In a corridor not far from the fare gates, we find the doors to the Accessible Travel Center. Here, a dedicated team of occupational therapists are there to help anybody of any ability use the SEPTA system. Appointments can be made by calling the number shown on the screen right now. It's also listed in the description below. The staff at the center have two main tasks. The first is to determine whether somebody is eligible for paratransit service. Remember the ADA? Well, that law requires that any transit agency that operates fixed route service also must provide paratransit service. Paratransit is a transportation service that does not run on a fixed route or schedule. Rather, people can make appointments and be picked up and dropped off anywhere within a 3/4 mile of where fixed route service operates. Paratransit is a fantastic option for people with any disabilities that may make riding fixed route transit too difficult. However, as a service, it is also quite expensive, usually costing an agency much more per customer than other forms of transit. So the occupational therapists at the Accessible Travel Center have a series of tests that they will guide applicants through to determine their eligibility. The other purpose of the center is to help people of any ability navigate using transit. This is called travel training, and it's where that usable part of accessibility comes in. They have some cool stuff here. Personally, I do not have a disability, and I have taken transit my whole life, so some tasks seem really easy and obvious to me, like paying a fare or boarding a bus. However, these may present a challenge to people who are new to riding transit or newly disabled. The wonderful people here are eager to help people overcome these challenges by providing a quiet and safe place to practice doing these tasks. For example, going through fare gates. The center has a pair of working gates, a wheelchair gate, and a turnstile. They're actually online. I opened them with my day pass. This area over here is meant to simulate boarding a train. There's a platform edge, complete with a gap, and two different widths. The wider one represents boarding a metro train, the narrower one a regional rail train. And the centerpiece of the center? This replica of a bus. It's got all the bells and whistles of a real bus. LED destination screen, fare box, a stop request cord. Buses in the SEPTA system, and in almost all systems, come equipped with ramps and designated spaces for wheelchair users. So they're accessible, but here at the Accessible Travel Center, they become usable. If you're in a wheelchair and you're learning to take transit, you may want to practice navigating the ramp and buckling into the wheelchair space. But you may not want to do this in a real-life bus that has a schedule to keep and with other people around you. Here in this bus replica, You can practice with an occupational therapist until you feel confident doing it for real. That's the advantage of being at Suburban Station. When you're done practicing at the center, staff can take you right to the trains and buses, and you can practice your skills on real transit. Many major transit agencies have similar accessibility centers, which are an important part of making transit accessible to everyone. I'm very grateful to the people at SEPTA who invited me and showed me around. I learned so much, and I think that this experience has helped me become a better advocate. However, the upcoming budget cuts are going to have a devastating impact on SEPTA. Availability will be impacted by the dozens of rail lines and bus routes shutting down. Affordability will be impacted by the 21% increase in fares. And accessibility is getting worse too. These budget cuts mean cuts to paratransit. There's an important lesson here. Budget cuts may just be numbers to lawmakers, but they can literally take away the ability to move around a region independently for thousands of people. The work is not done. Let's continue to work hard for better transportation, for ourselves and for everyone in our community. If you learned something new or if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to Trains Are Awesome. Thanks for watching today. We'll see you next time.